Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf for IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Matrix Labs, the video number 122. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. While still working with troubleshooting Windows using remote tools, especially the command prompt shell commands, we have seen that Claude 3.7 Sonnet has created a lot of scenarios concerning this topic. And actually, I said before in the previous video that this is the last scenario, but actually there is one additional scenario, and I have extended this topic to include other remote tools like PowerShell or Remote PowerShell and SSH and other tools we can use to troubleshoot Windows remotely. So we will continue the last case to troubleshoot Windows using remote command shell commands, and then we will go to the topic of the other remote tools and compare them. So we'll compare between remote PowerShell remote, command prompt, WinRM, WinRS, SSH, schedule task, a lot of things. Actually we'll see a good comparison between all of these remote tools, and then we will begin giving exercises how to use these different tools, so we'll not focus only on command shell. And then we will get also a dialogue or a learning dialogue discussing the different remote tools. So let's go and see the last case. It's called the case of an inaccessible website. So let's read it loudly.
The case of the inaccessible website. Scene 1. The hook, website down. 2:45 p.m., Thursday afternoon. Mia is updating documentation when an urgent call comes in. Marketing director, agitated, the corporate website is down. We just sent out an email blast about our new product launch, and customers are calling saying they can't access the site. This is costing us thousands in potential sales. Mia, I'll investigate immediately. Ends call. She quickly checks the web monitoring dashboard, which shows the website is indeed unreachable. She messages Victor. Mia, our corporate website at web, SRV01 is down. Marketing sent a product launch email with links to the site, so this is urgent. Can you help me troubleshoot? Victor, appearing at her desk with a thermos of coffee. Network troubleshooting, another great opportunity to use command line tools. GUI tools might tell you something is down, but command line tools tell you why. They settle at Mia's workstation. Mia, already typing. I'll start with the basics. Copy. Ping web, SRV01. Output shows. Copy. Pinging web, srv01.company.local 192.168.12.45 with 32 bytes of data. Reply from 192.168.12.45. Bytes equals 32 time equals 1 msttl equals 128. Reply from 192.168.12.45. Bytes equals 32 time equals 1 msttl equals 128. Reply from 192.168.12.45. Bytes equals 32 time equals 1 msttl equals 128. Reply from 192.168.12.45. Bytes equals 32 time equals 1 msttl equals 128. Ping statistics for 192.168.12.45. Packets. Sent equals 4, received equals 4, lost equals 0, 0% loss. Approximate round trip times in milliseconds. Minimum equals 1 millisecond. Maximum equals 1 millisecond. Average equals 1 millisecond. Mia. Server is responding to ping, so it's not completely down. Let's check if the web service is running. Copy. Winners are web, SRV01 SC query W3 SVC. Output shows. Copy. Service underscore name, W3 SVC type. 20 win 32 underscore share underscore process state. 4 running win 32 underscore exit underscore code. 0, 0x0, service underscore exit underscore code. 0, 0x0, checkpoint. 0x0 wait underscore hint. 0x0. Victor, good. The web service is running. Let's check if it's accepting connections on port 80. Copy. Vir web SRV01 está no Finster 80. Output shows several connections in listening and established states. Victor, the server is listening on port 80, but let's try to access it from our machine. Copy. Telnet web SRV 0180. The connection attempt times out. Victor, interesting. The server is up. The web service is running and listening on port 80, but we can't connect to it. This suggests a networking issue, possibly a firewall or routing problem. Scene 2. The foundation, network connectivity basics. Victor, before we go deeper, let's establish a framework for network troubleshooting. When a server is up but unreachable, we need to check. Firewall settings, network interfaces, routing, DNS resolution, actual web application functionality. Let's start with checking the firewall on the web server. Copy. Winners are web SRV01 Netch add firewall show all profiles. Output shows that the firewall is enabled on all profiles. MIA, the firewall is enabled. Let's check if port 80 is allowed. Copy. Winners are web SRV01 Netch add firewall show rule name equals all Finster / I80 HTTP web. Output shows several rules, but none specifically allowing HTTP traffic. MIA, surprised? I don't see any rules explicitly allowing web traffic. Could that be the issue? Victor, it's definitely suspicious. Let's check the network interfaces too. Copy. Winners are web SRV01 IP protocol configuration / all. Output shows network interface configuration details, including IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and DNS servers. Victor, the IP configuration looks normal. Let's check if there have been any recent changes to the network settings. Copy. Winners are web SRV01 PowerShell command get when event filter hashtable at log name equals system ID equals 10,000 10001 start time sadface get date that add days -1. Output shows several network configuration change events from about an hour ago. MIA, look at that. Someone made network configuration changes right before the website went down. Scene 3. The challenge escalation, digging deeper. Victor, let's check if any new firewall rules were added recently. Copy. Winners are web SRV01 PowerShell command get when event filter hashtable at log name equals security ID equals 4946 4947 4948 start time sadface get date that add days -1. Output shows a rule was added that blocks all incoming traffic to the web server. MIA, incredulous. Someone added a rule to block all incoming traffic? That would definitely cause our problem. Victor, I think we found our culprit, but let's do one more test to confirm it's really a firewall issue and not something else. We'll try to access the website locally on the server itself, bypassing the network firewall. Copy. Winners are web SRV01 PowerShell command invoke web request URI http://localhost. Use basic parsing. Output shows a successful response with status code 200. Victor, just as I suspected. The website is working fine locally on the server, but the firewall is blocking external access. MIA, so how we fix it? Scene 4, guided practice, fixing the firewall. Victor, now it's your turn, MIA. Let's fix this firewall issue. First, we should examine the specific rule that's causing the problem. MIA, thinking, I'll list all the firewall rules and find the one that's blocking our traffic. Copy. Winners are web SRV01 Netch add firewall show rule name equals all Finster / I block. Output shows a rule named block all web traffic that blocks incoming traffic on ports 80 and 443. Mia found it. There's a rule called block all web traffic that's blocking ports 80 and 443. Let me delete it. Copy. Winners are web, SRV01 netch add firewall delete rule name equals block all web traffic. Command executes successfully. Mia. Now let's add a proper rule to allow web traffic. Copy. Winners are web, SRV01 netch add firewall add rule name equals allow HTTP DR equals an action equals allow protocol equals TCP local port equals 80. Command executes successfully. Mia. And let's add one for HTTPS as well. Copy. Winners are web, SRV01 netch add firewall add rule name equals allow HTTPS DR equals an action equals allow protocol equals TCP local port equals 443. Command executes successfully. Mia, let's test if we can access the website now. Copy. Telnet web, SRV0180. The connection is successful. Mia, excitedly, it worked. Let me check in a browser too. She opens a browser and navigates to the corporate website, which loads normally. Victor, excellent work. You identified and fixed the problem. Now let's figure out how this happened in the first place. Scene 5. The Complexity Crucible Root Cause Investigation. Mia, let's check who made these firewall changes. Copy. Winners are web, SRV01 PowerShell command get when event filter hashtable at logname equals security. ID equals 4946, 4947, 4948. Start time sad face get date, add days, -1. Select object time created and name equals user. Expression equals $_, properties and value message. Output shows that the rule was created by admin account about an hour ago. Victor. Now, let's see who logged in as admin around that time. Copy. Winners are web, SRV01 PowerShell, command get when event, filter hashable at logname equals security. ID equals 4624, start time sad face get date, add days, -1. Where object $_, properties 5, value like asterisk admin asterisk, select object time created and name equals username, expression equals $_, properties 5, value at a name equals IP address, expression equals $_, properties 18, value. Output shows the admin account logged in from an IP address in the IT department subnet. Mia, checking directory. That IP belongs to Jack in the IT department. He's new on the team. Victor, let's check if there's any documentation or change tickets for this firewall change. Copy. Winners are web, SRV01 PowerShell, command get content c:/IT/changelog.txt single quote, tail 20. Output shows an entry. Temporary firewall rule added to block web traffic during security scans. Remember to remove after scan completes. Mia, nodding in understanding. It looks like Jack added this rule for a security scan, but forgot to remove it afterward. Victor, mystery solved. Now let's put some safeguards in place to prevent this from happening again. Scene 6, the integration, implementing safeguards. Victor, let's create an automated check that will alert us if the web server suddenly becomes inaccessible.
So let's see the script. And actually, there is a dashboard, Maya, that was looking to it. So there is a kind of monitoring tool, GUI monitoring tool to monitor the accessibility of the website. And actually, one mysterious point here is saying that someone has played with the network setting on the web server and it was down. And actually, before that, he said that the setting was correct. So how these two can get along? I think the problem, or this is not a logical point, but from logical perspective, yes, IT can put a rule to block external access to have a scan or to have a security scan on the server. Okay, so this is good. And as for the website availability monitoring, there is a dashboard to do that, but let's see how we can do that using a script. If you go there, we can see that here is the script. This is to send an email to the IT, and this is the log directory, retry count and retry waiting. So I think he will retry 3 pings maybe and wait between each one of them maybe 30 seconds or so. Create sites list if it does not exist. This is the websites he needs to check. Okay, so let's see here. This is the sites he needs to check if they are available or not, and then they will log the results in the log directory from the beginning, and then he will check website availability check, and then we will see try to ping the server rest. So he will ping each one of the servers in the text files that he was put there: corporate websites, development websites, intranet portal, and then ping rem test the actual website. So I think here he will check it locally. So I think here he will ping them from outside, and then he will ping them from inside, or try to access it from inside, as far as I remember, because I have seen this line of code before. Okay, so anyway, we will continue, and at the end, send alert if any of the sites are down. It will send an email to the IT. Reschedule this task to run every 15 minutes if not already scheduled. So here, this script will be run through a scheduled task. It will run every 15 minutes. So the script is very simple. Okay, it will ping the websites, and it will ping one of the websites internally to make sure, or to know if it is pinging internally, then there is a problem with the firewall rules, as was stated in the case. So this is the batch file to check the availability of certain websites. If we continue and see the other things here, Maya, that's great. A monitoring script that will alert us immediately if the website goes down. Let's also create a script to audit and document firewall changes. So this is another script. What it will do, it will document and notifies about firewall changes. It will send an email. This is an audit directory or log directory. Days to keep, 90 days, and then create server list if it doesn't exist. So create audit directory if it does not exist. Get current firewall rules. I think he will get the current firewalls and then put them in a text file, and then compare with previous state. If it exists, he will see if there is another text file with previous firewall rules and compare them. I don't know how we will compare them actually. Find no differences, alert, so and so, generate a more readable differences. So he will get also the differences in a text file, extract only the rule names that was changed. So he will compare and see which one was changed and who made the change, or what are the new rules. I think he will get the rules that was changed, and I think on the new rules and who made the changes. All of these he will get them and document them as far as I can see from the script. Okay, this is all I think is a summary of all of the codes or the scripts that you have done previously. Okay, and then make current state the previous state. Okay, and then if any change is done, make the current state the previous state for the next round. Very, very clever. Okay, just to make sure that any change we made will be the previous state and the current state will be the previous state. So I think this is a good one. Check for potentially dangerous rules. What is the criteria for doing that? He will check for rules for blocking port 80, port 443. So a lot of things actually here is done, and then he will alert or potentially dangerous rules for blocking port 80 and port 443. Clean up old audit files, send alerts if changes were detected, reschedule this task to run if it is not already scheduled, to run at 3 a.m. and that's it, and to run with the system user. So very, very good. Actually, the script is good. Vector excellent scripts let also create a procedure for any firewall rule change. This is procedure rules or procedure documentation if you need to make any changes. This document outlines the procedure for implementing changes to the Windows firewall configuration of all corporate servers. Following this procedure will minimize the risk of the service disruption due to firewall misconfiguration. The procedure applies to IT personnel who manages Windows firewall setting on any company servers, including web servers, application servers, database servers, file servers, domain controllers. Procedure pre-change requirements. Before making any firewall change, create a document or a change request. Document the purpose of the change, list all servers affected, specify the exact routes to be added, modified, or removed. Get approval from the IT manager. That's a good one. Okay, backup current configuration. Run the following command on each affected server to backup the firewall. Okay, configuration. Verify the backup file exists and is not 0 bytes. Prepare a rollback plan. Document exact steps to restore the previous configuration. Include command line commands that will be used. Ensure another team member reviews the rollback plan. Testing. Test in development first. Apply identical changes to a development service first. Verify application functionality after changes. Document any unexpected behavior. Create temporary verification access. If blocking rules are being added, ensure they don't block IT management access. Consider time-limited rules for initial testing. Temporary access. So this will, what it will do. Okay, so here is putting a rule to allow RDP. If someone has put already something to block port 80 and port maybe 443 or any other blocks or any other rules to block other protocols, make sure that you have RDP already enabled so we can access the server remotely using remote desktop. Implement changes. Schedule change window. Plan changes during off-peak hours. When possible, notify stakeholders that at least 24 hours in advance. Ensure at least 2 IT staff are during the change. Document current state. Run the following commands and save the output. I think we have seen already the rules. We have already exported the rules before. This is we have seen this step before. Apply changes systematically. Apply changes to one server at a time. Follow this pattern for each change. Rem add a rule. Modify a rule, delete a rule. So these are the commands to do that. And then create self-expiring rules when appropriate. For temporary rules for maintenance, create a schedule task to remove them. This is a good step. You can create a firewall, for example, to block access to port 80 and port 443 for security scanning, and then you can create a schedule task to remove this rule after you finish, okay, and put it on a certain time, because if you forget or something, it will be removed automatically at that time. Okay, verification. Run the following commands and compare with the before state. We have seen this. He has already said this before, I think in the previous one, file audit script. Test functionality, test verify that allowed services are accessible, verify that blocked services are not accessible, test for different network segments, internal, external, DMZ, monitoring for issues, monitor application and service logs for 30 minutes after change, verify with the stakeholders the services are functioning normally, post changes. Okay, very good documentation. Update documents, update the server configuration documentation, record or apply changes in the firewall change log, run firewall audit script, execute the audit script to document the current state. This is the audit script. Close change request. Okay, notify any issues encountered and the resolution. Get sign off from the change approver. Emergency rollback. Restore from backup. This is to restore firewall rules. If backup restore fails, what should be this one? Reset firewall rules to default with basic network activity connected, and then we will add the rules again. So there is a backup, you can import it back, and if the backup fails, we will reset and then create the rules manually from the beginning. Okay, that's good. And then if remote access is lost, use physical or out of band access like ILO or something. We can use different tools to connect to the server remotely. If the remote desktop is not working, we can use the ILO. If the ILO is not working, we can use PowerShell Remote. We can use other WinRS or other tools. Temporary rule guidelines. When creating temporary firewall rules, include a clear descriptive name indicating it's temporary. Always include a date or time reference in the name. Document the purpose and planned removal date. Always set up automated removal via schedule task. Never leave a temporary rule beyond 72 hours without review. So we have seen this example here, how you can name it. Temporary security scan block, for example, and here it is. So the rules can be simple, or we can know that the rule, what does it do from its name. Rule naming convention. All firewalls must follow this naming convention. Direction, action, service, description. In, allow, HTTP direction. In, allow, HTTP, corporate websites. Out, block, SMB, prevent file sharing. In, allow, RDP, IT. Very good and professional documentation. Appendix, here is the commands that we have used. Check firewall status, enable, disable firewall, allow a program through firewall, we can see this, and block an IP, allow or block, and find specific firewall rules. So this is very good documentation. As you can see here, this is very good. Let's continue with the case and see how it will go further.
Mia, these are fantastic safeguards. The monitoring script will alert us if the website goes down. The audit script will track firewall changes, and the procedure document will ensure everyone follows proper protocols for future changes. Victor, nodding. Let's also talk to Jack about this incident and make sure he understands the importance of documenting and completing the change process. Mia, checking her email. I just got confirmation from marketing that customers can access the website again. This could have been a serious problem for the product launch, but we fixed it quickly. Victor, this is why command line tools are so powerful. We were able to diagnose a network problem, identify exactly when and how it happened, and fix it within minutes. If we relied solely on GUI tools, we might still be clicking through menus trying to figure out what went wrong.
So this is the case, or the last case, how to solve problems remotely using command prompt commands. Let me show you something here. We will go to other tools, and actually to extend this topic, let me show you this. Okay, so here we have, first of all, I have what are the different non-GUI tools to solve problems remotely on Windows machines or Windows machines. Arrange in a table and compare. There will be a comparison here. Okay, so here these are the different tools. Sorry guys, these are the different tools. Let me return back to the sorry guys, let me return back to the things from the beginning. Let me go back. Let me go to the thing here, or let me go to the chat. Actually, I have type it, or here you go, this is it. So here there will be a table comparing each non-GUI tool to the other and examples to it, and so let me I will show you the different non-geographical tools and a comparison and examples for each one of them. But actually here, let me show you this, explain the different remote tools. Okay, like I'm a junior IT, show its concept, how it works, provide a real world scenario and include common pitfalls. So for example, as we can see here, this is the remote Windows management, a guide for junior IT administrator. Let me read this out loudly. So here, let's do this.
Remote Windows Management, a guide for junior IT administrators. What is remote Windows management? Remote Windows management is like having a virtual set of hands on a distant computer. It allows you to perform administrative tasks on Windows servers and workstations without being physically present at those machines. Instead of walking to each computer or using remote desktop, which takes up a full GUI session, you can send command from your workstation that execute on remote systems. Think of it like the difference between driving to a store versus calling them on the phone to place an order. Both get the job done, but one is much more efficient when you need to interact with multiple locations. How PowerShell remoting works, the most important tool. PowerShell remoting uses a protocol called Windows Remote Management, WinRM, to create a secure channel between your computer and the remote system. Here's how it works. You type a command on your computer. Serialization. PowerShell converts your command into a format that can be transmitted. Transmission. WinRM sends this data to the remote computer over HTTP/HTTPS, ports 5985/5986. Execution. The remote computer runs the command in its own PowerShell environment. Return results. Any output is sent back to your computer. Deserialization. The results are converted back into objects you can work with. Real-world scenario. The Monday morning crisis. Imagine it's Monday morning, and you get a call that the accounting department's shared application isn't working. Users can't log in, and the finance team needs this fixed ASAP for monthly reporting. Without remote management, you need to physically walk to the server room, log into the server console, or use remote desktop, check the application service status, possibly restart it, and verify the fix. With PowerShell remoting. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag check the service status, invoke command computer name accounting server. Script block get service name, accounting app select object name, status. Hashtag restart the service if it's not running correctly, invoke command computer name accounting server. Script block restart service name, accounting app. Force start sleep seconds 5 get service name, accounting app select object name, status. Hashtag check the application log for errors, invoke command computer name accounting server. Script block get event log name. Application source accounting app. Newest 10 select object time generated entry type message. From your desk, you've checked the service status, restarted it, and examined recent error logs, all in less than a minute. You discover that the service was stopped due to a database connection timeout, but your restart fixed the issue. Common pitfalls to avoid. 1. Forgetting to enable remote management. Problem. By default, Windows machines often have WinRM disabled. Solution. Before you can remotely manage a computer, make sure WinRM is configured. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag run this on each server you want to manage remotely enable PS remoting force. 2. Firewall blocking. Problem. Firewalls often block the WinRM ports, 5985 for HTTP, 5986 for HTTPS. Solution. Ensure your firewall allows traffic on these ports. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag allow WinRM through the Windows Firewall Internet Firewall rule name, WinRM HTTP. Display name Windows Remote Management, HTTP. Direction inbound. Local port 5985, protocol TCP. Action allow. 3. Authentication issues. Problem. Default settings only allow administrators, and sometimes domain trust issues prevent connections. Solution. Use explicit credentials when needed. PowerShell. Copy. $cred equals get credential invoke command computer name remote server. Credential $cred script block gets service. 4. Double hop problem. Problem. When you connect to server A and then try to access resources on server B from your remote session, authentication fails. Solution. Enable cred SSP authentication, but be aware of security implications. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag on your local computer enable WSMan credits parole client. Delegate computer start@yourdomain.com. Force hashtag on each remote server enable WSMan credits parole server. Force hashtag when connecting $cred equals get credential new PS session computer name remote server. Authentication cred SSP. Credential $cred. 5. Running scripts that need user interaction. Problem. Remote commands run in a non-interactive session, so anything requiring user input will fail. Solution. Make your scripts fully automated without prompts, or use parameters to provide all required information. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag bad. Will hang remotely invoke command computer name remote server. Script block $confirmation equals read host. Are you sure you want to proceed? Y/N. Hashtag rest of script. Hashtag good. Uses parameters instead of prompts invoke command computer name remote server. Script block param $should proceed. If $should proceed eq $true. Hashtag proceed with action. Argument list $true. Starting simple. Your first remote commands. When you're just getting started, begin with these basic commands. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag see if you can connect to a remote computer test WSMan computer name, server name hashtag, get basic system information invoke command computer name server name. Script block get computer info, select object Windows product name. OS version, OS architecture, hashtag check disk space, a common task. Invoke command computer name server name. Script block, get PS drive PS provider file system where object $_ free. Any $null, select object name, at a name equals size GB. Expression equals math : round $_. Use /1 GB plus $_. Free /1 GB. 2. At name equals. Free GB. Expression equals math : round $_. Free /1 GB. 2. At a name equals free %. Expression equals math : round $_. Free $_. Use plus $_. Free, *100. When to use other tools. While PowerShell remoting is the most versatile option, sometimes you'll need other tools. PsExec, when you need to run a GUI application remotely, or when WinRM isn't configured. SSH, when working across different operating systems or through restrictive firewalls. WMI/CAM, for hardware inventory and low-level system information. Specialized tools like BCDT or DISM for specific system management tasks. Building your remote management skills. Start small. Focus on basic commands like checking services and disk space. Create a test environment. Practice on non-production machines first. Build a personal script library. Save useful remote commands for future use. Learn to run commands against multiple computers. PowerShell. Copy. Dollar servers equals server 1, server 2, server 3. Invoke command computer name $server script block, get service where object $_ status, EQ stopped, and $_ start type. EQ automatic. Document your work. Keep notes on what worked and what didn't. Remember, remote management is not just about convenience. It's about consistency, efficiency, and scalability. As your IT environment grows, your ability to manage systems remotely will become increasingly valuable.
So,
Publish.
uh, this is the explanation, for example, of PowerShell Remote, how you can use PowerShell Remote as a tool for troubleshooting remote machines. We have seen this, but I need to explain not only PowerShell Remote. There is other tools like Pixie and other things. Let's try to see also this explanation. I will try to read it out loudly.
PSExec. What it is, a lightweight command line tool that lets you execute processes on remote systems without installing client software. How it works. PSExec works by creating a service on the remote computer temporarily, executing your command through that service, and then removing the service. Real-world scenario. You need to run a GUI application that can't be automated through PowerShell. Batch. Copy. Hashtag launch event viewer on a remote computer /sec / accounting PC. udomain /admin. Password event for MSE hashtag run disk cleanup with system privileges /sec / file server. scleanger /sage run. 1. Common pitfalls. Requires administrative shares, $admin, to be accessible. Transmits credentials in a less secure manner than PowerShell remoting. May be flagged by antivirus software as suspicious. Leaves traces in the event logs that security teams might flag. 3. SSH for Windows. What it is, Secure Shell, traditionally a Linux/Unix tool, now built into modern Windows. How it works. Creates an encrypted connection to a remote computer's command shell over port 22. Real-world scenario. You need to manage both Windows and Linux systems from a single workstation. Bash. Copy. Hashtag connect to a Windows server using SSH administrator at Windows Server 01 hashtag run a PowerShell command over SSH administrator at Windows Server 01 PowerShell command get service name DHCP. Common pitfalls. SSH server isn't installed by default on Windows. Must use add Windows feature. Limited to command line interface only. Key management can be confusing for new administrators. Authentication methods differ from traditional Windows Auth. 4. WinRS, Windows Remote Shell. What it is, a command line tool that lets you execute commands on remote computers using WinRM. How it works. Similar to PowerShell remoting, but designed for CMD commands rather than PowerShell. Real-world scenario. You need to run CMD commands on a server, but don't need PowerShell's advanced features. Batch. Copy. Check disk space on a remote server WinRAR. File server DARC://s:. Check network connections WinRAR. Web server U. Domain /admin p. Password, netstat, ono Finster established. Common pitfalls. Requires WinRM to be enabled, like PowerShell remote. Limited to command line tools. Less flexibility than PowerShell for handling output. 5. WMIC, Windows Management Instrumentation Command Line. What it is, a command line interface to Windows Management Instrumentation, WMI data, and operations. How it works. Queries the WMI database on local or remote computers to retrieve system information or make changes. Real-world scenario. You need to inventory hardware across multiple computers. Batch. Copy. Get CPU information from all domain controllers /node at C. /temp /core controllers at txt CPU get device ID name max clock speed. Find all computers with less than 8 GB RAMium /node at C. /temp servers.txt computer system get name total physical memory /format CSV low_memory_servers.csv. Common pitfalls. Being deprecated in newer Windows versions. Complex syntax that's easy to get wrong. Performance can be slow for large queries. Requires administrative privileges. 6. Remote registry tools. What it is, command line and GUI tools that allow you to view and modify the registry on remote computers. How it works. Connects to the remote registry service on target computers. Real-world scenario. A line of business application needs a registry setting changed on multiple computers. Batch. Copy. Check a registry value-reg query // sales PC 1 / HKLM / software / vendor / application /v connection timeout. Update a registry value on multiple computers from a PowerShell script. $computers equals get content C : temp /computers.txt for each $computer and $computers reg add // $computer HKLM software vendor application /v connection timeout /t reg_dword /d30 /f. Common pitfalls. Remote registry service must be running on the target, disabled by default on workstations. Registry changes can break applications or the OS if done incorrectly. No rollback capability if something goes wrong. Requires administrative access to the remote computer. 7. SCH tasks, scheduled tasks. What is? A command line tool for managing scheduled tasks on local or remote computers. How it works. Interfaces with the task scheduler service on Windows machines. Real-world scenario. You need to set up a nightly backup script on all file servers. Batch. Copy. Create a daily backup task on a remote server's tasks /create /s file server /tn nightly backup /trc /scripts /backup the bat /sc daily /sd0 1:0 /ru system : check if the task ran successful tasks /query /s file server /tn nightly backup /v finster last. Common pitfalls. Task might not run if the computer is off at the scheduled time. Script paths need to be accessible from the context of the running account. Easy to misconfigure run as users and permissions. Complex triggers can be difficult to set up through command line. 8. NetSH, Network Shell. What is? A command line scripting utility for network configuration. How it works. Provides access to modify network services, interfaces, and firewall settings. Real-world scenario. You need to configure the firewall on multiple web servers to allow a new application. Batch. Copy. Add a firewall rule to allow traffic on port 8080 NETSH. Our web server 01 add firewall add rule name equals my application. DR equals an action equals allow protocol equals TCP local port equals 8080. Export firewall config from one server and import to others netshar web server 01 add firewall export C. /temp /firewall_config WFW netjar web server 02 add firewall import c:/temp/firewall_config.wfw. Common pitfalls. Commands change between Windows versions. Can accidentally block important traffic. Complex syntax with many subcontexts. Some functions being deprecated in favor of PowerShell couplets. 9. SCEXE Service Controller. What it is: a command line program for communicating with the Service Control Manager. How it works: allows you to query, start, stop, and configure services on local or remote computers. Real-world scenario: you need to verify and fix service startup settings across multiple application servers. Batch. Copy. Check SQL Server service status on a database servers / deserver query MSSQL Set a service to start automatically and start its / app server. Config my app service. Start equals autotask / app server. Start my app service. Common pitfalls. The space after start equals is required, a common mistake. Doesn't provide real-time service monitoring. Limited error information compared to PowerShell equivalents. Some operations require the service to be stopped first. 10. Robocopy, robust file copy. What it is: a command line directory and file replication command. How it works: copies file data and attributes with extensive options for mirroring, syncing, and backup. Real-world scenario: you need to deploy updated application files to multiple servers. Batch. Copy. Mirror an application directory to a remote server. Robocopy c:/deployment /app1 /app server 01 $c$ program files /app1 mir/z/w 5/r 2/log deployment_log.txt. Create a batch file to update multiple servers at echo offer %% app server 01 app server 02 app server 03 do echo updating %s robocopy c:/deployment /app1 %s $c$ program files /app1 mir/z/w 5/r 2/log deployment_% s.txt. Common pitfalls. The /mir flag can delete files. Be careful. Incorrect use of slashes or paths can cause errors. Network performance impact during large transfers. Requires appropriate share permissions. 11. DSM, Deployment Image Servicing and Management. What it is: a command line tool that services Windows images and can manage Windows features. How it works: provides deep OS configuration capabilities, particularly for installing / removing Windows components. Real-world scenario: you need to enable .NET Framework 3.5 on multiple servers for a legacy application. PowerShell. Copy. #enable a Windows feature remotely invoke command computer name server 01. Script block dsm/online/ enable feature /feature name. netfx3/all #scan and repair Windows system files invoke command computer name problem PC. Script block dsm/online/ cleanup image /scan health dsm/online/ cleanup image /restore health. Common pitfalls. Can take a long time to complete operations. May require reboots to finish. Requires internet or WSUS access for some operations. Complex syntax with many parameters. 12. BCDIT, Boot Configuration Data Editor. What is? A tool for managing boot configuration data stores. How it works: modifies the boot configuration database that controls how Windows starts. Real-world scenario: you need to enable safe mode on a problematic server that you can't access physically. Batch. Copy. Access the BCD store on a remote computer. Edit /store / problem server / C $ boot /BCD /enum. Configure the server to boot in a safe mode. Next time update /store / problem server /C $ boot /BCD /set default. Safe boot minimal shutdown /r/m / problem server /T60 /C. Rebooting in a safe mode for troubleshooting. Common pitfalls. Can render a system unbootable if configured incorrectly. Requires careful syntax and GUID identification. Changes don't take effect until reboot. May require additional steps for secure boot systems. Building your remote management skills. Start small. Focus on basic commands like checking services and disk space. Create a test environment. Practice on non-production machines first. Build a personal script library. Save useful remote commands for future use. Learn to run commands against multiple computers. PowerShell. Copy. $servers equals server 1, server 2, server 3. Invoke command computer name $server script block, get service where object $_ status, EQ stopped, and $_ to start type. EQ automatic. Document your work. Keep notes on what worked and what didn't. Which tool to use when. As a junior administrator, here's a simple guide for which tool to reach for. PowerShell remoting. Your default choice for most tasks in modern Windows environments. PsExec. When you need to run GUI applications remotely or WinRM isn't available. SSH. When working in mixed Windows/Linux environments. WinRS. For simple command line tasks when you're more comfortable with CMD than PowerShell. WMIC. For detailed hardware and software inventory reports. Remote registry. For specific registry modifications, be careful. SCH tasks. For managing scheduled operations. NetSH. For network and firewall configuration. SCEXE. For quick service management when you're more comfortable with CMD. Robocopy. For file deployments and backups. DSM. For Windows component management. BCDDIT. For boot configuration issues. Use with extreme caution. Remember, remote management is not just about convenience. It's about consistency, efficiency, and scalability. As your IT environment grows, your ability to manage systems remotely will become increasingly valuable.
So as we can
Publish.
So as we can see here, this is very good explanation concerning the different remote tools, non-graphical remote tools to explain or to non-graphical remote tools to troubleshoot Windows. The upcoming video with God will, we'll have hands-on exercises on each one of these tools. We have seen a couple of examples, but maybe we can get more examples. For example, PowerShell remoting. So we will see how we can enable it and use it, and for example, how we can use how we can establish a connection using PowerShell remote and then begin working with it, and then we can do PowerShell remote management tasks. As you can see here, a lot of exercises. Pixie tool, we should download it from Microsoft and then begin working with it. We will see a lot of exercises, and then we can see a learning dialogue or a learning case between a senior and a junior IT concerning these different tools. So as you can see here, the topic is extended. It's not only CMD commandlets, but a lot of other tools. So I hope this video informative to you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.